Hey everybody, how you doing? Guess what time it is? You know what time it is, ladies and gentlemen. It is that time of day. It is 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, ladies and gentlemen. And that means that it is time for Frico Talks the News. And you can see down there below, you can see that we are 3 shows in. That's right, 3 shows in. We got ourselves an empty chair today in the background, and that empty chair is there for a reason that I will never, ever explain. I don't care what you do, I will never, ever explain the significance of the empty chair. But it's there, and for those of you who know, you know. So pay attention to the empty chair. Or not. Or just watch the show and enjoy it as you usually do, as a massive wave of entertainment that it has become in your life. And I appreciate all the laudits. Is that the word, laudits, that have come my way? I appreciate that. I appreciate all the acclaims and the triumphs and the hero worship. It's a little bit excessive. I do appreciate it. Don't stop. It is excessive, but I don't care. I don't care. Just keep it going. I appreciate it. So I appreciate everything that everyone has done for me up to this point, which has been massive. I can't even begin to share with you all of the ways that so many of you have helped me in so many ways in this journey. And the journey that begins today, right here and right now, as I, Frico, I seek to do that which you could not imagine that I could ever do before. And that is match the second longest streak of freaking out of all time of 4. That's right, 4 shows in a row without freaking out. That's what we're going here, folks. So it's not quite historical, but it's almost. It's sort of in that historical range. We're about ready to share second place. Right now we're in 3rd place all time. 3 shows in a row. We could make it 2nd place today, ladies and gentlemen. 2nd place today. That's what we're going to go for. But in order for us to get there, I'm probably going to have to say a few things that a few people aren't going to like. Probably a lot of people, whether you're left, right, or hobnobs or woblobs, there's going to be stuff that I'm going to say that it's going to hurt your feels. It hurts my feels, all of it. So this is for you and for me, for all of us.
Warning, the material you're about to be exposed to is formed in the minds of individuals who are limited in their capacity to understand the actual reality of power around them, just as you and everyone else alive currently are. What you're about to hear are opinions, suppositions, like gospel or scientific proofs, not infallible certainties. Brace yourself for incoming opinions that could confirm or deny your preferential view of the reality of power. Brace yourself for fallible material, fallible opinions, and values reflected, but nonetheless variably firmly held. We do not apologize to anyone we offend. We do not apologize for daring to express our views and impressions of what we believe is and what we hope to see. We will keep talking so long as we are able.
And now, Frico attempts to talk about the news without freaking out. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, that is the plan. That is always the plan. Welcome to Frico Talks the News for Tuesday, May 12th, 2020. On this day, we're going to talk about the no middle porning of America. Amazon faces the Ma Bell solution. Wash and charge smart clothes thanks to Liquid X. Helen Thomas and Thomas Hobbes had a baby and called it Eat Your Nothing, Child. Oh, that's the news poem. And then we're going to end, as we always do, with a dialectical. Americans do the safety dance from the Bill of Rights. That's our dialectical. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I know what you're thinking. I know exactly what you're thinking. How do I make sure that I don't miss anything ever on Freako Talks the News? And the answer is really, really simple. You go to get your Freako Daily. It goes to Freako.com/daily. That's right. You go to Freako. I can't pull that off in a sustained way. Too late in the day for me to pull that off. One of the all things being equal, I should do a morning show, but I don't think that's right. I just don't think it's right. This is the right time for this show. Get the Freako Talks Daily delivered to your email at Freako.com/daily. That's right. That's all you got to do. So, how did we get here? How did we get to what we are going to sing to you today? Well, do things a little bit differently now. We go through a lot of stories throughout the day now, so you need to go to newsalot.com, the glitz, the odd, the under the radar, the hard to believe news at a glance, and then slip on over to Obamacare.tv, free market social engineering for the masses, and finally you make your turn on at pioneeringnews.com, tech science underground news links. I aggregate and filter and assess and put things into perspectives and send what I think of as the things that I'd want to talk about on this show. I send them all over to Freako.com, and from that, I decide what kind of song I want to sing for you today. And here is the name of the song that I'll be singing to you through news today. The Great American Safety Dance of Coronavilles. That's what we're going to be talking about here today on Freako Talks the News. And our first features coming up. Well, our first segment is coming up right after we switch into a new gear here. Let's switch into something else. Boom! Wow, it doesn't look any different. Oh, wow. Did not think that one out. Oh, we still got to tag the thing. What is this? Individual power. Let's see. You know what? I'm going to keep this up. So my general rule is going to be this from now on regarding these texts. If it matches in any way, loosely or otherwise, where is this? Oh, never mind. It's not up here right now, but let me see. Is it still there? No, never mind. We've passed over. Because individual power, so signalist is from before. Do I? Nah, that doesn't equate. So there, that's done. So if there's going to be a new text, the individual, I had to take you down for some reason, so you didn't last. I see. That's a thumb from a video from before. Okay. So it's not still there. I'm clicking, and I'm like, okay, where's the, I'm going to move that up, and that's good. Okay, I know the story that's coming up here, which we're going to talk about. I'm going to start recording here. So let me start recording, and let's just get to that. Now, you will have to apologize, because I am going to do a little promotion for the Freako.com daily thing again, because this is the excerpt that I put up on both BitChute and YouTube. But really, BitChute, actually, no, this is not going to go up. This one's not going up on YouTube. This is only going up on BitChute. It's not going up on YouTube. So there's that. Woo-hoo-hoo, them throwing words. I ain't getting no action on YouTube. I'm getting action on BitChute. Getting 30 to 60 some views for my videos there. I'm getting like 10, if I'm lucky, views on YouTube. So there's that. All right, so here we go in 3, 2, 1. These are the talk headlines for Freako Talks the News on Tuesday, May 12th, 2020. I am Freako with Freako.com. Our top headline is the no middle porning of America. Notice I'm not asterisking thing out or anything. I'm not. This isn't an advocation of porn. It's just a refusal to participate in the little frilleries and fripperies of the universe that wants us to return back to Victorian times, when what we did was we drew the parts of ourselves that we deemed messy. We drew those parts underground, gave them their own other world underground there, rather than allow these things, these messy parts, however we deem them, to live on the surface where we can probably have a much more, if there is a possibility to have any type of healthy relationship with porn, and I'm not here speaking, I'm not here to bring my Christian morality in this conversation, so not in this particular perspective. So I'm just saying, I'm not afraid of the word porn, and I don't think that I'm going to instantly burn up in a ball of fire, or that anybody else hearing the word porn will instantly rush on into dedicate my life to Pornhub. But YouTube will hit you because you use the word porn in your video. It's so nobody does it. So this weird way of speaking is emerging from YouTube. It's very creepy. I don't like it. It's not entertaining. I'm watching less and less videos on YouTube, by the way, because of it. So, that's our story. The no middle porning of America. No more middle people, like directors and distributors. People are learning they can porn cash themselves with a mic, a laptop, and a webcam. And this is an excerpt from BuzzFeed News. BuzzFeed News. Its scale of credibility with me is maybe near the bottom of the bottom of the bottom, but yes, even BuzzFeed has good stuff sometimes. So they have some decent stuff in between. It's just like most of the other trash sites like BuzzFeed. That's a kind word. They're so big and they have so many different people that do so many different stories that, yes, of course, you can find decent stuff there. If somebody said they wrote for BuzzFeed News, I wouldn't automatically assume there's some sort of SJW authoritarian corpo statist show. I would find a lot of interesting writers on BuzzFeed News. They're not necessarily the ones that you've heard about, though. So, with that said, let's move forward. More people are making amateur porn at home as record numbers sign up to OnlyFans, which even Beyonce is rapping about. Now, while traditional porn studios are learning to work from home, some performers say they are making tens of thousands of dollars each month without ever setting foot on set. I think what they're going to end up finding is you're going to still need to... I'm speaking about this I'm going to be speaking in a very neutral, historical, commercial, historical, whatever perspective. So from that perspective, I would predict that what you will find is OnlyFans, and that's the one everybody's talking about, because you could make... Listen, if you are known in a certain region of probably 40,000 or more, just say you're known in a region of, say, 40,000 people, and you're let's just say, arguably, by their standards, a sexy individual, or a fetishistic individual, whatever the case might be, maybe a combination of the two, and I won't get into what I mean by fetishistic now, but if you're one of those individuals, you can make a ton of money right now, maybe $4,000 or $5,000 a month off that community, and with an OnlyFans. That's all you really need, and you don't need a huge audience to make a ton of money, because you will get you'll probably end up with about 30 to 50 people who will spend on the regular maybe $300 to $500 a month on you. It might be something like that. You're going to make a ton of money. So it's there. But the people who are going to make the massive, even more than that, the massive amounts of money, I think they're probably going to be still needing some legendary pornocracy or pornology, porn. They're still going to want... They're going to want what might end up happening is porn might return. It might go back to the 70s and trying to mix quote unquote good stories. The height of it, of course, is Caligula. The height of it, and I watched Caligula, I confess, when I watched it at the time, I was actually watching it. I wasn't necessarily interested in Roman history at the time. Then I did watch it later, but I actually watched it because I was then interested in history. And all things being equal, it's not really a good film. So I'll just say that. But it was a bit OTT. And I don't just mean the sex scenes. If you cut out all the sex scenes, I'd still say the same thing. Maybe I'd change my mind. But anyway, be that as it may, you might end up having still, so you want to be in one of these high quality porn films there's going to be this new space. Anybody can do straight wham bam, whatever, wherever. And the cameras are high quality on our phones. The audio is high quality. It's the micro business. This is why I chose to highlight this. Whatever you feel about porn one way or another, that value exchange. I'm not here to give one way or another to it, but here's just this is part of what is happening as more individuals. Again, this is just another way. And I'm telling you this, that even without me doing anything, not that I mean, with my 3 viewers per video, my voice is massive. But without me doing anything, the heuristic institutions are being built amongst the people who are experiencing this degree of self-stewardship, if you will, because I don't like the word ownership, but I say stewardship. So self-stewardship, being able with your own tools for a minimal overhead, you are making bank, and you're doing it on a platform that is getting its big cutty, so it's a happy camper. Now the big revelation is going to come. Well, I'll save it for later. I got a note in between segments. I don't have a brief anymore. We're not going to have any briefs. So I got something planned that is going to be tied to the story. It's going to be tied to the story. Yeah. I'm singing my song, ladies and gentlemen. How honeybees immaculate conception themselves. That is just I enjoyed writing that headline. I really did. So you think a virgin birth, even that virgin birth, is impossible? Do you? Well, take a look at this story then. Skeptics. I'm being tongue-in-cheek, by the way. I'm being tongue-in-cheek. You know, one thing I have decided, if you have noticed, is hopefully I'm going to remember where I intentionally left it on that scene, and then I'm going to, after I'm done with this story, if I remember, I'm going to switch back to well, you'll see. If I remember. Otherwise, well, we'll see. It's a combination of emergence and planning. That's what Freako Talks and News is, which is basically how I like to live my life, even how I like to create my art. And this is art. I'm self-professed. I am creating self-professed subjective valuation of art through news. News through art, whatever, however you want to determine that. Here's an excerpt from Science Daily. Researchers discover a gene in honeybees that causes virgin birth. Oh, I left out the I. Yeah, that's terrible. That's terrible. You people. In a study published today in Current Biology, researchers from University of Sydney have identified the single gene that determines how Cape honeybees reproduce without ever having sex. One gene, GB45239, I like reading it like that. It just makes it more real. On chromosome 11 is responsible for virgin births. It is extremely exciting, says Professor Benjamin Oldroyd. Oh my. I think we've got ourselves a name. I just want to say that I am in love with this name. There is so much potential. This gentleman, right from the start, has been set up. I'm assuming Benjamin is a gentleman. I'm assuming, I think I'm going to continue to do things like that. And if I see a reason to doubt, then I'll deal with it then. So I'm going to assume that this gentleman, what am I doing? Why am I trying to build into something that I don't need to build? That's right. I was trying to build. I don't even want to talk about what I was doing. It's not right. It's not right. It's not right. And I apologize. But I have fixed it. Hold on. Oh, I can't laugh and smile at the same time, you know. What does that even mean? No, it's true, lad. It's true. All right. Okay. I didn't say it. That wasn't me. I was a voiceover actor I hired and did a bad job. Just kind of winged it, even though I had the script for the particular voice actor, which, by the way, was a 7-year-old little girl. You'd be remarkable if you heard her real voice, you'd be astonished that she could manage. She had a whole range. Never mind. I don't want to talk about it. She was a horrible human being. I'm just kidding. I made all that up. You guys know that, right? Oldroyd. That is a gentleman that must be a hero. Must be like, I did that. And when I was a older person and I had the power, I chose to hold on to Oldroyd. I salute you, sir. I salute you. I would never, ever say a bad word about this gentleman because he ain't even. He is. And you know what? Now that I know that this is the last name of the gentleman that's making these declarations, I'm feeling like that's credibility to me because that is a hero. A hero. All of the Oldroids in general, all of you. Thank you for your service. Thank you. Scientists have been looking for this gene for the last 30 years. Now that we know it's on chromosome 11, we've solved the mystery. Oldroyd said, sex is a weird way to reproduce, and yet it is the most common form of reproduction for animals and plants on the planet. It's a major biological mystery why there is so much sex going on in it. Doesn't make evolutionary sense. Asexuality is a much more efficient way to reproduce, and every now and then we see a species revert to it. I don't know. I'm kind of sliding a little bit here in the Oldroyd support column. You seem to be advocating for a world without the eroticisms. See the first story, sir. See the first story. I can assure you, sir, your dream will never come true, ever! But you know what? All the more power to you, because your last name's Oldroyd. At this point, you're like, dude, listen, what could you possibly do to me at this point in my life? I am literally, I don't know how old you are. I'm just going to guess. And no, I'm not going to look him up. I don't want to spoil things. I want my image and my interpretation. He's probably a gentleman in his I'm going to say mid-40s. Mid-40s. Grew up. He's an 80s baby and a 90s teen. So he's a 90s teen. Oldroyd, the 90s. Oh, come on. A 90s teen named Oldroyd. What do you think happened to him in school? Come on. You're getting it, right? You're getting it. Yo. Never mind. I'm not going to do it, though, because I told you I'm not going to mess with this man. There's so many things that have occurred, all the jokes and everything that I could have done that I did not, because I do not want my life to end. So no wonder he has the audacity to speak against the torrent of horniness and say, no more! Yeah. That just makes me like him more. I mean, I hate his position, but I just like him all the more. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your service. We need defiance, such as you demonstrate by your very existence. That Pulitzer's fake news, New York Times? Got to do the question mark because I'm like, man, I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying, look, these people, they're like, look. There's a twist. Hold on. Here's a twist. Listen, Oldroyd doesn't even make it out of his own story, though. I love you, man, but you're gone. We're moving on. We don't need you there. This story will warm the cockles of your dead hearts. The darling of established media, the old great lady herself, has found itself at odds with the truth of the Pulitzer Prizing they took for stories they might have stolen from others. Hence the title of my headline, that the Pulitzer is fake news for the New York Times. Well, the question mark. At least for those stories and journalists that have claimed them, if the claims themselves are true. I have no idea. What's more, the people accusing the New York Times of faking their way to Pulitzers? Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you didn't read ahead. I hope you guys don't do that. That would ruin it for me. I would be hurt. If I knew that some of you were reading ahead. If somebody even read ahead and didn't even watch the rest of this, I'd be very hurt. You missed the money, the money that flows in between the sentencing and the wording. That stuff. Like this right here, this is sugar sending it your way. And if you're just going off the script, man, you're missing the point of the show. The script is the guide. This is the emergence. That is the structure. You're getting it. You're getting it. Everybody, sing along with me. Building those heuristic institutions of harmonious, I'll say harmonious contradictions. Let's just say that. So this is from The Gray Zone. The Gray Zone's credibility for me is wildly inconsistent. They're remarkably effective in finding truth when it hurts their particular factions that I think that they're mostly aligned with. They're very, I'm just going to say Russian friendly in general. So there is that, but I'm not like, I think they're Russian clones. No, I don't mean like that. I think that there's other reasons why they find themselves in the Russian orbit. It's not because they're Russians or pro-Russians or Russian clones or anything like that. There's reason for it, but that's complicated. So I won't get into try to deconstructing the Gray Zone, because honestly, I haven't quite fully put my thumb on them yet. I'm still trying to figure them out. But in general, I look at them with skepticism. So that's how I'd like you to consider this if you would. But it's still delicious. It's here not because necessarily I think, oh wow, look what the New York Times. It's just so beautiful. It's a beautiful story. Whether it's true or not, what does it matter anymore? It's all just narrative. It's all just who wins the narrative. Might be true. Might not be. But it would be beautiful if it was. I hope it is. Just because, come on. If they actually stole news from the Russians to create fake news, and the fake news being that they're the ones that broke the story when it wasn't them, and then they got the Pulitzers for it, come on. So they got fake news Pulitzers? That would be beautiful. The New York Times has been accused for a second time of stealing major scoops from Russian journalists. One of those stories won the Times a Pulitzer Prize this May. The journalists who have accused the Times of taking their work without credit also happen to be the same liberal media crusaders against Putin that Western correspondents at the Times and other mainstream outlets have cast as persecuted heroes. Oh, wow. So it's they come from a tricky persuasion. Maybe. Who knows? They could be controlled opposition for all I know. I know at least some of the people in any country, America included, are controlled opposition. I mean, some people that we know, I'm sure. Not that I would figure out who was or try to go down that, play that game. I don't try to find trolls, so to speak. That's the word of the day now. But who knows? But let's just say they really are Putin opposition. That would give this whole thing all the more credibility if they legit were not on the Putin camp. The Pulitzer Prize Board is comprised of a who's who of media aristocrats and Ivy League bigwigs. Given the elite backgrounds of the judges, it is hardly a surprise that they reward reporting that reinforces the narrative of the new U.S. Cold War against official enemies like Russia and China. Stephen Kinzer, a former New York Times correspondent who has since become a critic of U.S. foreign policy, noted that the 3 finalists in the Pulitzer Prize in International Reporting were only one story about how evil Russia is and 2 about how evil China is. These choices encourage reporters to write stories that reinforce rather than question Washington's foreign policy narrative. Listen, man. Listen, Gray Zone. It is so much easier to find stories that show how evil China is. Because, subjectively speaking, within frameworks of preference that many of the groups that the Gray Zone aligns with, the Gray Zone, these are not SJW authoritarians, the Gray Zone. They don't seem to be from that group. These are more consensual-minded progressives, but when I say more consensual-minded, they're still looking for, by and large, state solutions, although there's a fair number of, I'd say, anarchist left folks that might find, like the Gray Zone as well, so then they probably have that element within them as well. But in general, I put them more in that category. So I think that if they were really to and it's one of my criticisms of them, especially as of late, is they do a lot of stories that they could have been written by Chinese agitprop. It's fundamentally damaging to the United States of America, and it advances Chinese power significantly the way I see it. Just my interpretation. But I don't think that I don't view them as being in the Chinese pocket any more than I do the Russian pocket. I think that what underlines the Gray Zone's tendency to see things in the skewed ways that it does, it is not an organization that I see as making stuff up per se, but they do tend sometimes to believe things more that are in line with their underlying legitimate preference that's not being met is a preference not to see American lives and American machines continue to murder, maim, rape, pillage, plunder the rest of the land so that the rest of us can continue to live the lives that we live. I think that is what underlines their motivation. So because of that, I don't give them a pass as far as my assessment of their journalism. I just kind of understand when they cover certain stories, I know that these are opportunities for them to actually execute high journalistic standards, and when they have those opportunities, they do so. So I have that respect for them, is that they have the professional competency to deliver high quality journalism, and they just, I would say that they're missing when it comes to removing themselves a lot more than they do in their central, their what I believe is their core preference that their aggregate is seeking to satisfy or imagines they're satisfying. But anyway, that's just how I see it. This ended up being more about the Gray Zone, but that's the way it is. I do appreciate the Gray Zone. I share their stuff and I track them. But not that I appreciate content from almost all the sites that I regularly track, even the ones that I on the main just can't stand. If they went away, I probably wouldn't lose any sleep. If Common Dreams shut down and BuzzFeed News shut down, never mind to me. I can get stuff. One of the only reasons that I track them is really just to see what's being said and done, more than I love their content. No, I have no desire to see. Very, 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 very. But at times, stuff shows up that, wow, this is pretty good. Maybe in the course of the work that I do, that I've come to appreciate these sites, even awful sites. I've come to appreciate, even amongst awful sites. That's kind of like human beings. Human beings can have some awful opinions in some certain area in their lives, but if you if you allow for the possibility that so do you, and you really do, all of us do, just about all of us. If you really came to terms with that, then you'd be more inclined to be not tolerant of their views, like giving people legitimacy if they have horrible, hideous views, if you consider them horrible, hideous, but allowing them to have opportunity to demonstrate that despite those views, on the main, they're still willing to be consensual across all the other paths, and then you find that, you know, in other areas of their life, they may know some really interesting things that you don't know. That's kind of how I view these sites, except for most of these sites, is like most of their beliefs and most of what they do I find totally reprehensible. But these small parts are like, okay, good job there. Good job. Good job. Good job. That's the end of this segment. Coming up next is the talk feature, and the talk feature will be Amazon Faces the Ma Bell Solution. Well, I never did go to this one. And, I don't know that I didn't do the promotion at the end, but I did that. I decided to do that myself. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that. I'm going to leave the promotions out. I'm trying to cut down on some things and get this more streamlined and talk a little bit faster. In general, what I like to do is just be really relaxed, slow, chill, and I know I can't quite... I'm not going to be nearly as fast as a lot of other people on the YouTubes and whatnots. And hi, everybody. How you doing? I'm not doing that. I'm not. And I know a lot of people, they're like addicted to that. And to a certain degree, I still am. I like those. I have my own little... Hey, everybody. How you doing? I watch them people, too. And I enjoy them. But I don't enjoy doing it. So that's why I just... If this is going to work, it can't be doing it like that, because I would never enjoy doing it like that. Just for, just for reasons. Now, hold on 1 second, ladies and gentlemen, because I need to take a sip. And now, I want you to know, I do have the Hello Kitty cup, but I did not have water. I mean, I have water, but I didn't put any water in it, and I did that on purpose, because today I decided I'm very thirsty, and I want something cold and lemonade-y, and I don't dare put lemonade in Hello Kitty, because Hello Kitty will keep lemonade cold for about 3 seconds. So lemonade, big old fatty lemonade, goes in Big Buddy. So occasionally Big Buddy will make the appearance instead of Hello Kitty, but Hello Kitty will always still be here. So, I haven't neglected Hello Kitty, just so you guys know. Our mascot is safe and well, and not to be replaced. Not at all. This is not a replacement. We will not replace Hello Kitty. Now that's a sip. I did tell you that I'm quite the sipper. Number one sipper in Perry County, Pennsylvania, 1982 to 1984. Look it up. True story. True story. Louisville, PA. True story. True story. Go ahead, look it up. It's not true, by the way. But look it up anyway. See if you find it. Maybe there's a... Who knows? Maybe there's a... Who knows? If I send a bunch of people to Perry County, Pennsylvania, and Louisville, and there actually is a sipper thing in there, like a sipper award, like that would be beautiful. If there isn't Louisville, PA, and this ever becomes huge, you should make one. Then I know I will have arrived if Louisville, PA eventually has a Sipper of the Year award, and they give me an honorary first year win, and then thereafter, then it's open to only Louisville people. But in the beginning, the first one, you have to give me the first award. Frico. It has to be in the name of Frico, even though I have other personas, of course, but Frico is the one. This is who I am here today and here and now. And that's all that matters, ladies and gentlemen. That's all that matters. Let's record this next segment. This is going to be our talk feature. Ladies and gentlemen, talk feature. Yay! We're going to start recording in 3, 2, 1. And this is the talk feature for Frico Talks the News this Tuesday, May 12th, 2020. My name is Frico with Frico.com. And our feature today, it's not that up there. It's not what you see there. It's not killing violence by virtualizing Violence, I think that's the title. I can't remember. That is the segment from yesterday's feature, which is available on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ActionBata. Today's story is a little bit different. Today's story is called Amazon Faces the Ma Bell Solution. So that's what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to talk about Amazon facing the Ma Bell Solution. When your particular market vehicle of power starts to cut into the real power of fellow Citadelians, you can bet that the friendliness of whatever state you're ostensibly beholden to might suddenly offer more challenges than it once did. This, my friends, I submit to you, might very well be the primary reason why, even before Coronavilles, Amazon was facing more whispers, real whispers, from inside government sources, claiming the scrutiny on their monopolistic advantage is increasing. Coronavilles has hit Amazon, and now the whispers have only become louder. Amazon's ability to maximize its advantage over the poors, the small businesses, is not the real concern from the whispers behind these tombstone doors. It's their ability to pivot themselves in ways that not only cut off small business owner opportunities, but is cutting even deeper into the Walmarts of the universe. And they've got real Citadelians behind them, real Citadelian legacy families connected to that universe. And Amazon, I really have to look more into Bezos, but as far as I understand so far, I'll say my understanding is Bezos truly is from outside. He's new blood, he's nouveau riche. So remember that. The nouveau riche, they're not necessarily automatically in. You don't necessarily transfer your ennobling onto your family and create a familial legacy. Doesn't always happen. There's a process. And perhaps, just perhaps, might be time for Bezos to be taken down a peg. We'll see. We'll see. Regardless of the why, one cannot but root for Amazons to be decentered, maybe busted up into 6 regional Amazons, even if one knows such regulations will do little to actually reduce the concentration of advantage held by the Citadelian few, with crumb advantage sprinkled to their vassals and sweet aromas of something being the bulk of sustenance the rest of we poors are granted on a good day. Metaphorically, of course. I eat well. I do. All right. Here's an excerpt from MarketWatch.com. Yeah. Mimblewimble stays. Mimblewimble is still appropriate. I have not parted with Mimblewimble yet. It just feels right. Amazon could face renewed antitrust scrutiny due to Coronavilles sales, analysts say. Amazon.com could become the focus of antitrust questions over the site's business practices. Global Data says, as a flood of customers head online for goods amid the coronavirus pandemic. Laura Patron, a senior analyst at Global Data, highlights allegations that Amazon, AMZ, I'm not reading all that. Well, oh, I did that. I did it. I knew I would do it sometimes. I missed it. I'm just going to go with AMS. I'm just going to call you AMS right now, for the rest of this article. AMS. AMS is promoting its own products over the ones from third-party sellers, which could put the company at risk of undercutting small businesses. Yeah, that's the vehicle of power that they'll use. But really, it's not the small businesses will be the vehicle. They'll be supported by the Walmarts and whatnots, but they'll let that be the shield. So it'll be. I've talked about the rainbow shield, how the SAW authoritarians use the quote-unquote rainbow shield. This is, in essence, this is just another shield. This is the small business shield. They're using the small businesses. They're legitimate issues. They're legitimate concerns. They're using them. And in the end, the small businesses are going to find themselves further locked out. It will be not the small businesses that will benefit from the destructuring of Amazon if they're able to achieve that. It'll be the Walmarts and the Lowe's and the Home Depots that'll benefit. Mark my word. There may be some small businesses. There'll be some anecdotal stories to tell of some small businesses that benefited, or there's always some benefit. Whenever you change systems, there's always some benefit to some groups, even within whichever system might ultimately be even further harmed. So there will be enough anecdotes among hundreds of thousands of small businesses for the press to prop up, if their motivation is to prop up that narrative. So, as recently as January, analysts were raising concerns that Amazon could be at the center of antitrust allegations heading into the November presidential election. President Trump has been openly antagonistic towards Amazon chief executive Jeff Bezos. And, Trump, he's old money citadelian. And now he's one of those rare instances of, especially in America, I would wager. I think FDR was one of those actual citadelian leaders. I think Wilson was probably a citadelian leader. I don't think that Kennedy was a citadelian leader, but I do believe that he was a citadelian in training. And in the end, didn't pass. I think Reagan was not a citadelian leader. Bush was not a citadelian leader, but Bush is some powerful citadelians. I'm talking about Bush 1. Some powerful citadelian's right-hand goon, and may eventually have earned some degree of self-citadelian status in the grooming from that whoever that goon was. That goon may have died at some point, and then Bush kind of inherited that goon's place. That's what I'm wagering. This is all wild speculation based upon if I apply my way I look at the world, my reality of power analysis of the universe. This is my assumption from Bush 1. And then Bush Jr., Bush Jr.'s Bush Jr., not a citadelian, never fully given that status. The Bushes themselves are still, I would say that they're on the fringe of potential full ennoblement, but not 100% sure of that they're actually going to translate into that category where there'll be an ennobled citadelian family. But actually, I think they've already been kind of floating in that for a while. So as I think about it, they're probably one of the citadelian families already. And Bush, maybe he was the first one that he wasn't a citadelian when he started. At some point, he was a citadelian. I don't believe that he was a citadelian while he was a president. I believe he didn't acquire citadelian status till afterwards, and it was somewhere in the transition with the Clintons that he made the deals that cemented his position. And I think this is where China comes into the fold. This is where the doors open up to China well past us understanding, and we already understood in 1990. And this is when the shift was taken. This was under Bush. We understood in 1990 that, in point of fact, the liberalization of the Chinese market and the opening up of our technologies and our markets, encouraging this liberalization, it wasn't going to work. The Chinese government was going to be able to sustain its control. That's what we deduced in 1990. But what we also deduced was we can make a lot of money if we keep doing this. We got a lot of money we can make off these guys, even if it means letting them become more powerful. Listen, that's decades from now. We'll all be dead. We'll be dead before that check arrives. Well, the bill arrives for the check that we wrote. Or he's like, okay, it's time to cash that check. Time to cash the check. We'll be dead by then. And that's how he cemented his status. But his son, I don't think his son ever got that level. Bush Jr., let's just call him that. George Bush Jr. I think that's about all I'm going to say about this. The Amazon story and the whole... where I see this, my reality of power analysis, what's really going on here, that's, I think, what's going on. The dude has been able, he owns the Washington Post, so now this man has real citadelian power, and he's a nouveau riche as far as I understand. Now, if I found out that his family lines are deeply connected to, then I'll change. Well, then it's more about basically a citadelian power struggle. But it may very well be that his nouveau riche status is in doubt. And it's not that they want to get rid of him, but they want him to be diminished. That would be my assessment. That's where this is fundamentally coming from. And he's vulnerable in a lot of ways. Hey, tip your freako. Don't forget to tip your freako. Well, you don't have to, but you should, especially if you are Amazon chief executive Jeff Bezos and you're listening to this. You have decided to use your vehicle of power, your market power, to force your values, your constructs on us to throw in so militantly with such a very specific militant faction. Yeah, and I'm talking about more through Washington Post than through Amazon.com, although to a certain degree through that as well. But shame on you. So the only way that you feel good about yourself for the rest of the day is to send me at least $3 million. $3 million. No strings attached. I don't get nothing from you other than $3 million. You get nothing from me other than for the rest of the day you get to feel good about yourself. Tomorrow you still feel like crap. Unless you find someone else to give another $3 million to until you got nothing left. Then you feel good about yourself. Until then, just saying. Not nothing, okay. If you get, I'll tell you what, you get about, say, $3 million in the bank. You got yourself a nice little house, nice little estate, you're in a little private area. You got your debts, bills, everything all paid, and you got okay, I'll give you that, man. Just everything else though, yeah. Just find more people like me and just keep every day find another creator to make their day. Just do that, and then we'll work you back into the family of what we call the decent folk. The decent folk. That's how I'm going to end this segment. Coming up next is the Talk Focus, and that is wash and charge smart clothes thanks to Liquid X. Alrighty then. Alrighty then. I've got this a little bit to focus. I rearranged this and I was going to do this in a different way. But I am not. I am taking us back to here. Whew! Yeah, I chose that. I knew I on some of these I have this battlefield background that I like. It just seems appropriate. And I felt like I needed to go through it when I went to that. Because that's one of those stories, by the way, that because of how I chose to cover it, I could have covered it from many different angles, and I chose to cover it from that angle because it was the angle that I was least likely to just... Because I just can't stand the selective moral supremacism that I see from across the universe. It is my trigger, and I could see the moral supremacism with a lot of these companies. I'm not talking about the small businesses. They're just... But your small businesses, you're just like... What I try to tell a lot of folks in the LGBTQ community, the folks that like especially the folks that not all LGBTQ folks identify with that rainbow, but many. I don't know what percentages, if it's most, and probably most. I don't know. I have no idea. But I try to tell these folks what I like to tell these my small business folks. Don't give power to people that use such vilifying angels and demons language. I can assure you, in the end, they're not really going to be giving you the world that they're promising you. In the end, you will just suffer, like we'll all just suffer more together. And that's what I'm telling the small businesses. Don't give power to this. Don't demand that government create laws that bust up Amazon. Demand that government gets rid of the laws that gives Amazon advantage over you. That's all you got to do. You don't need to artificially end monopolies. You just got to stop protecting them. That's all you got to do. That's my fundamental point with that. Which I guess I should have said in the part that I actually recorded for the segments. But, that's why you got to watch the live streams. It's all about, really, I want people to understand it. Fundamentally, everything is about trying to get people to listen to this live stream. That's where I'm making my bank. When I have an audience of gazillions of human beings, and I will probably in the next 6 weeks, then I'll be making maybe $15, $20, $30 a show. I'll be raking it in, baby. Raking it in. Making that bank. Making that $800 a month kind of lifestyle. You know it. No more, less ramen noodles for me, baby. Yeah. All right. I ran that joke into the ground. I apologize. All right, let's get to the talk focus in 3, 2, 1. This is the talk focus for Frico Talks the News on Tuesday, May 12, 2020. I am Frico with Frico.com. Our top focus is wash and charge smart clothes thanks to Liquid X. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know why I did that. I just felt like Liquid X. It's Liquid X, sir. It's Liquid X. It is Liquid X, ladies and gentlemen. That's the big fatty. That is Liquid X right there. And it is the secret to the universe. It is the secret to bringing me closer to my dream. And if you listen to the show long enough, you know what my dream is. I'm going to step into my little sheath or whatever we end up calling that. This is like a clear kind of material that we get ourselves into, and maybe we only have to take it off like maybe every few years or so. I don't know if we can keep it on forever or if we could have to take it off sometimes for some maintenance cleanings. I don't know. Whatever the case might be, it's going to be like long periods of time you want to keep this on because this thing is like super duper. Like, it makes all of us stronger. It makes all of us smarter. It is the singularity. The singularity is when we can create our own devices, our own nanobots, whatever it is that we want. It's all created within our confines. Whatever we end up with, if we end up getting taken over by the very thing we created, so be it. That's the way it is. That is. It just is. There's no rhyme or reason or design that we need to concern ourselves with. We'll see what emerges. And I'm banking that what will emerge is something pretty awesome. It's going to be a democratization of thought itself. Imagine the democratization of thought itself. If you democratize ideational construct power making, so to speak, yeah, that's a game changer. And that's what you'll end up doing when you have these types of suits that give you this. You're not invincible, but nobody's going to shoot you and kill you. Nobody's going to chop your head off. Nobody's going to throw you down a flight of stairs and you die. No, you're going to fall from a 200-story building and live. It's like that kind of suit. It's like, be like that. Yeah. Army of AI buddies within the suit itself, able to tap into all of the essence of your body's totality of mind, which is the totality of all of your structures. that you'll be more aware of and you can tap into. I can't even understand, I can't even remotely fathom the type of thoughts that we humans would have, and what little care we would have for the type of people that we give such power to today. We would laugh in their faces at some of the things these people say. You couldn't get away with anything anymore. You couldn't hypnotize people. You couldn't propagandize people. They would instantly have at their footprint, at their thought, not even their finger. They don't even need to conduct the fingertips. Fingertips are out of it. There's no at the anything. There is, they have everything. All human thought. Immediately, they can analyze and have it presented to them in ways that they understand exactly what you're really saying to them and the veracity of the things that you claim. Yeah. AI's programmed to protect the individual from coercive information. From potentially coercive information. But they're not AIs that the central authority defines what coercive information. It's a tool designed by you. I'm going to get more to that later. An idea that I have, which maybe somebody's already building. They probably are. And somebody say, hey, it's called the... Hey, great. Tell me what it is. It may not be Chemical X, the mysterious ingredient that Professor Dude from Powderpuff Girls... I always say Powderpuff. It's Powerpuff. You don't be a sexist pig. From Powerpuff Girls inadvertently let slide into his girls. Doesn't sound good when I read that out. That's bad. I didn't mean... Oh, gosh. You're a horrible human being. I blame the Pope somehow. I don't even know. I'm sorry, Catholics. It was a terrible joke. But come on. Making them the powerful forces of nature they became. Okay, so yeah, I like them. I do. Unironically, fight me. And that's the thing. I'm actually a Powerpuff Girl fan. Like, I loved the power. I didn't watch the reboot, and I don't know whether I'd like it or not. I'd give it a chance. But I don't know. I think if Powerpuff Girls came out now, I wouldn't be that. I was a younger adult person, and Powerpuff Girls was definitely created for kids, but also for like a lot of stuff that Nickelodeon kind of... What was it? What were they? The 2000s? They were still doing a lot of the... Well, maybe they still are. I don't know what they're doing now, but a lot of the ostensibly kids shows had a lot of adult themes, and not just not unwholesome adult, just adult edgy. Their Powerpuff Girls were fun. They were awesome. They were over the top, and they were great. They really made fun of superhero cringe, and that's what I loved them. They were awesome. And I remember Chemical X. But Liquid X might be to fantastic, washable, wireless, chargeable e-textiles what Chemical X is to little girls, a radical, powerful game changer. Yeah, the things I do for cheesy metaphors, which is appropriate because Powerpuff Girls themselves, you see how it all ties together, ladies and gentlemen. There's layers on layers in this stuff. Layers, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not. Oh, what is it? Oh, I'm so disappointed in myself. I had a good line. Ren Hawk. We're not just flying anymore, Stimpy. We're not just dreaming anymore, Stimpy. We're flying. We're flying. That's from Space Madness. I'm probably getting it wrong, but yeah, they were losing it at the end. Do not press the red button. They pressed it. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? That's what you call a deft cut. Did you see that deft cutting? I edited that part out. Or did I keep it in? I can't remember. Utilizing Liquid X's proprietary ink technology. Well, that sucks. Don't worry, I'll cut all this out in post. Utilizing Liquid X's proprietary ink. See? Didn't even notice it. Ink technology. Manufacturers can print circuitry directly onto a garment. Add PowerCast wire power wireless power technology, and a battery, and seal this all into the garment during the manufacturing process. The two companies' goals is to enable cost-effective manufacturing of durable e-textiles with battery-powered features such as health and wellness, movement and monitoring, or LED-based illumination embedded directly into garments that consumers can conveniently recharge over the air and wash without having to remove a battery pack. With the combined technologies of Liquid-X and PowerCast. Dude, I'd watch that show. Come on, you got to make a show. That is some content marketing that is begging to be done. Come on. Listen, you guys, if you're watching this and you see these things, I got all these fantastic ideas. Every day I got 15, 20 winning, just fantastic winning ideas. But I can't even imagine that I'd have time to do any one of them. So take my ideas. If you can create this show, like consult these guys and say, listen, man, I got your content marketing. It's this show right here. It's going to be two superheroes called Liquid-X and PowerCast. And, create that show. And we're going to call it Liquid-X and PowerCast. And we're going to give you illuminations. Hold on. We're working on something, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on. Just trust me, because what we've got here is a situation that cries out, that demands respect and care, that demands being noticed, and I'm going to do that. I set it up for it. Maybe not that noticed. That's a little bit too much notifications. We're going to dial that down. All right. I'll put you here. There we go. Oh, that's terrible. I can't believe that you've done that. We want a very subtle and restrained, but very clearly. Okay, now there you go. Superheroes. Liquid-X and PowerCast. Come on. That is a beautiful thing. You got to admit that's beautiful. I get a little bit clap when I think about how beautiful that partnership. And you think like, yo, man, it's like PowerCast was walking down the street, just the man of my business going down. You know what? I haven't been down that alleyway. What's down that alleyway? I'm gonna walk down that alleyway. Hey, what is this? Look at that giant, big old neon sign of Liquid-X. Whoa, Liquid-X. That sounds like, whoa, hold on. Liquid-X and PowerCast? That's music. I gotta get with that whatever that is. I gotta get with that. And then they got together, and they had a baby. This is incredible. This is incredible. With the combined technologies of Liquid-X and PowerCast, now manufacturers can integrate the electronics directly into the garment. First, circuitry is printed on the fabric using Liquid-X's proprietary particle-free ink, including PowerCast's RF wireless receiving antenna. Next, I don't know why I said it like that. That's weak. Next, PowerCast. No, I won't let you get away with that. Never do that again. Next, PowerCast Power Harvester RF wireless power receiver chip, a battery, and other components are mounted onto the printed traces. Finally, an encapsulant provides a high-strength waterproof bond to seal in all of the electronics. I really hurt my own feelings there. I'm a little bit harsh on myself. Chill out. I don't know which one of me said that. This is all a knock, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry. He's fine. He takes his medicines. Does he take medicine? No, I don't take medicine. Keep listening, ladies and gentlemen, because this is very important. I don't want you to think about Frico and his conversations he has out loud. I want you to think about, I want you to ponder, if you will, the step that Liquid-X and PowerCast. Wait, this is like, you know what? That's another Ren and Stimpy reference comes into man. There we go. So I think I need to deliver this like powdered toast man kind of delivery here. Liquid-X and PowerCast! Dude, that is a winner. Right here is a game changer. Well, I mean, they're not the first that are doing stuff like this, but I mean, stuff like this. This is the game changer. Just another one of these game changers. It's how technology is going to be able to be equipped, customized to the self and integrated and confabulated in such a ways that we are a powerhouse. We are going to democratize thought. We are going to democratize literal power like energy power. We're going to democratize force power, because trust me, in these suits, there's incredible things of possibilities, not to mention the equipment that you could have customized that will produce either the lethality required to blunt a lethal threat, or the stunology required to meet a stunology threat, such as the case might be. You for instance, someone wants to punch you in face alone. You don't lethality, you stunology. You know what I say. It's like phases set to stun, phases kill. It'll be like that. It'll literally be like that. And we'll all have this power. Incredible respect for one another. Hello, how you doing? Oh, I see you have a nuclear missile on your arm. So do I. It's a good day. You want fair trade? Listen. I want to make sure that you're the winner. No. I want you to be the winner. You'll have your new power will be in the perception that you are giving, and people make good deals off of you. Then you'll be a person of standing in the community. It'll be like that. See, I don't know if you guys are getting this, but I know I'm right at this point. Well, I don't really know anything, but I know I'm right as far as I know anything. It's right up there. Okay, Christ is Lord is number one. I know I'm right. But even that, I won't say I know I'm right. But that's number one. The number one thing in my life that I get is close to anything that I say I know I'm right. And then there's this one, though. This one's maybe fourth or fifth in the hierarchy of I know I'm right, if you will. So it's that level of I know I'm right. I'm like, oh yeah. Yeah, I've seen more than enough. I've watched this play out for the last 30 years where I was truly paying attention. And, yeah, that's why I say I know I'm right. I am. Liquid and Powercast are helping to make it happen. Of course, they might not like some of the end results of some of these things, where maybe some of their proprietaries that they imagine are proprietaries. They ain't going to be able to hold on to it. He's just going to go, because the crypto pirates of the universe will free the tech, democratize the code, democratize the source, democratize the secrets. Yeah. That's what I say. And I think that is what the rest of the world is going to increasingly say as they get more and more power to say so. Entangling the quantum radar. Being able to see what the human eye cannot from a great distance is the name of the game in surveillance. And that just got a quantum bolt in the form of a radar prototype that uses quantum entanglement to create radar that can see where non-quantum radar cannot in noisy thermal environments. Here's an excerpt from phys.org. Scientists demonstrate quantum radar prototype. Physicists at the Institute of Science and Technology Austria, East Austria, have invented a new radar prototype that uses quantum entanglement as a method of object detection. This successful integration of quantum mechanics into devices could significantly impact the biomedical and security industries. You could see things, you can see things. You could see things and track things and see things and track things and see things and track things, like micro, into spaces that are confused with thermals and non-thermals as well. The research is published in the journal Science Advances. Scientists from the research group of Professor Johann Fink at the Institute Johannes Fink. Nope. You do not get on the list. Sorry, Johannes. Sorry. I am very much a namist. At the Institute of Science and Technology Austria, along with I did that, didn't I? I did this. I did that. I apologize. I will say, I'm going to stick with this one. Institute of Science and Technology Austria. Along with the collaborators Stefano Pirandola from MIT and the University of York, UK, and David Itali from the University of Camerino, Italy, have demonstrated a new type of detection technology called microwave quantum illumination. that utilizes entangled microwave photons as a method of detection. The prototype, which is also known as a quantum radar, is able to detect objects in noisy thermal environments where classical radar systems often fail. The technology has potential applications for ultra-low power biomedical imaging and security scanners. The working principles behind the device are simple. Instead of using conventional microwaves, researchers entangled two groups of photons, which are called the signal and the idler photons. The signal photons are sent out towards the object of interest, whilst the idler photons are measured in relative isolation, free from interference and noise. When the signal photons are reflected back, true entanglement between the signals and idler photons is lost, but a small amount of correlation survives, creating a signature or pattern that describes the existence of the absence of the target object, irrespective of the noise within the environment. Holy moly. There is no way that if you ask me what I just read, that I could intelligently relate it back to you without literally just going back and rereading this. What do you guys think? As I went through that, how many of you were like, oh yeah, the flabbiness is connected to the wobbles, and when you derculate them. Now that's the question of derculation has long been discussed in the pyramidal circles, and I think now they've come. Anyway, you guys get it. The working principles behind the device are simple. Okay. Are they? It could be I'm just a dullard. Instead of using conventional microwaves, okay, conventional microwaves. So now we're not using conventional microwaves. Okay, got it. Brain. Just no. We're rid of those. No more of those. They suck. Instead, we are going to entangle two groups of photons. Okay? So we got these two groups of photons. On one side is the signal, and the other is the idler. Right? Signal, idler. Okay? Entangling signalers and idlers. Now, what is entangling? Don't know. The signal photons are sent out towards the object of interest. Oh, object of interest. Just thrown out there. Object of interest. Now we have an object of interest. Okay. Object of interest where we're thinking maybe the object might be. Maybe that's it. Whilst the idler photons are measured in relative isolation, free from interference and noise. So they roam. They're not held in by the same parameters as. So you get the signal photons, which give the more precise, I guess maybe, and then the idler photons, which creates a signature or pattern that describes the existence or the absence of the target object, irrespective of the noise within the environment. So you end up getting two signals, two images back, I guess, however you want to present it in image form for the human eye. So you get two images back. The one is the signal, which will pick up probably most of the traditionals, and then the other element is the idler, which is the one that if you send that out, it leaves this tracer behind that lets you know if you can't see it with this, you got it with this. So does it just simply make it more detailed? So what he says here is this is, well, she or he, I'm not sure. Shabir, I thought we were still talking about the person up there. Shabir Barzanji. What we have demonstrated is a proof of concept for the microwave quantum radar, says lead author Shabir Barzanja, whose previous research helped advance the theoretical notion behind quantum-enhanced radar technology. Using entanglement generated at a few thousandths of a degree above absolute zero, we have been able to detect low reflectivity objects at room temperature. Okay, now, this is a little confusing. A few thousandths of a degree above absolute zero. What we have demonstrated is a proof of concept for the microwave quantum radar, whose previous research helped advance the theoretical notion behind quantum-enhanced radar technology. So there's a lot of stuff I think that I don't understand the entanglement part. I think that's the key part that's probably missing from me. But the bottom line is I don't know if you need to understand that to get that there's just another basically the whole quantum computer thing. It's the quantuming which I don't fully understand, the entanglement that I don't fully understand, and I've looked into it. I don't have a natural science head. I'm history and philosophy more than science, and because I love science. I love I'm a big futurist technologist type of person, but I wasn't gifted with the ability fundamentally to easily understand the sciences, I guess. Maybe. Who knows? But at any rate, I understand enough to understand the way that discoveries are leading to discoveries and applications, and so many people, for instance, that are so afraid of the automation of the grindies in our lives. I welcome it. You want automation. You want human beings growing up with an expectation that automation is something that is beneath us. The robots do the automation. We don't even know the type of industries that we're going to be creating with the technologies that are unfolding around us, and the ability, I think, fundamentally for us to create micro communities, micro markets, open micro markets, not free. Free is a lie. Free markets are a lie. Open markets are the only solution. Well, subjectively speaking, within my framework of preference, which is a consensual framework for personal reasons, because I'm a weak piece of crap and I realize that I need people to have mercy on me, so I tend to gravitate toward the consensual because of that. And everybody else should too. 90+% of us should, because 90+% of us are fundamentally worthless, broken, vulnerable human beings that need the mercy of others. That's why consensuality is my preference. So within that framework of preference, let us just say that I hope for these types of decentralized micro communities, and most of what we rely on is these. Most of our entertainment, for instance, I'm sure that there will be national, there will be international, there will be global, whatever you want to call it, entertainment that all of us know about, but there will be a lot more folks at the local levels that will be producing high quality content that is tailored, not even necessarily on purpose, but maybe sometimes tailored for that people will be. This is how we will make. This is just one of the ways that so many more of us will be able to make money, if you will, make a living, have the value that we need to give other people value, so we can have the other things in our life that we can't just create by ourselves. That this is just one of the ways that this localized democratization of technology, of IP, of patents will free us in ways that we can't even imagine, to create new institutions, industries that robots will never be able to fulfill, where there is always going to be value in humans servicing humans, so to speak. Always we will create jobs that we can't even imagine. And I think I'm going to end it at that. That was the a bit of a long focus, but so be it. Coming up next is the news poem, and the news poem is titled Helen Thomas and Thomas Hobbes Had a Baby and Called It Eat Your Nothing, Child. Alrighty, well, we're at the halfway part. Well, actually, a little bit more than the halfway part, because the second part is going to be shorter than the first part in general, probably mostly work out that way now, because we will not be having a brief section at all. We are going to have our news poem and our dialectical. Now, in between the news poem and the dialectical, I got a little thing that I've thrown in, but it's not really. It'll be included as part of the dialectical. I actually know it won't be recorded at all. It's just going to be in the live stream part, a little bit of mention of something. An idea I have that I'm throwing out there, and if anybody wants to take the idea go ahead and run with it. I don't need any credit for that if you do use it. And if the idea already exists and people are already doing it, please let me know who it is so that I could become involved in figuring out how I can do one of those things for myself. With that, I am going to take an intermission where I do the innie alley with the whole liquidation issues and other sundry items that sound sundry. I like it. It means sundry items, but I'm going to go with a sundry. All the sundries. I like malapropisms very much. Malapropisms, you'd be surprised how many times malapropisms, mispronunciations, and all the manglings of languages, and how often it's actually become eventually canon in and of itself. I love language for that reason alone. I mean, for a lot of reasons, but that reason definitely. All right, we'll see you in a few. Well, let me get this prepped, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not even a pro, but I am now today. Here we go.
Love overwhelmed me. Love overwhelmed me.
I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. I am back. I'm back in the high life again. All so washed away. I can't sing like Steve Winwood. I can't pull that off. I don't even know why I come. I like Steve Winwood. I don't love Steve Winwood, but I don't know why that matters. I think it does matter, though, ladies and gentlemen. It's one of the things that I offer you. One Freako Talks the News is this spontaneous song from the middle of nowhere that lights the bright of your eyes with that warm yes. And when you listen to that, you say to yourself, he has a good point. And that's the key. That's what you find yourself saying. He has a good point. And then the next sentence I say something like, he is literally. And then you go off on your tirades. And then you come back later and you're like, whoa, he does have a point. Either that or the whole time you're thinking literally idiot. All my comments down below. Idiot. And then I keep going though. And then after I've got a million gazillion views and everybody keeps saying idiot, after a while I keep going. Everybody's like, you know what? He actually has a point. Yes. I just made all that up. I don't really care. All right. So we're getting back to the show. So you know what I got for you? Take this. Take this like the man or the woman or the they that you are.
Warning, the material you're about to be exposed to is formed the minds of individuals who are limited in their capacity to understand the actual reality of power around them, just as you and everyone else alive currently are. What you're about to hear are opinions, suppositions, like gospel or scientific truths, not infallible certainties. Brace yourself for incoming opinions that could confirm or deny your preferential view of the reality of power. Brace yourself for fallible material, fallible opinions, and values reflected, but nonetheless variably firmly held. We do not apologize to anyone who knows. We do not apologize for daring to express our views and impressions of what we believe is and what we hope to see. We will keep talking so long as we are able.
And now, Frico attempts to talk about the news without freaking out. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, that is the plan. And listen, you guys realize that I am at 3 shows in a row, which is the third longest streak of not freaking out that I've ever been able to pull off since I've been doing this show. And we are about ready, if form follows function, such as I believe it will, of moving into a tie for second place. The longest amount of shows that I won without freaking out. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we're focused on here. That is really the fundamental. I want you to keep that in mind throughout the rest of this show. But I think I have a pretty good chance because I have the news poem coming up. And I'm looking it over here, and I'm not showing it to you because I know you guys read it, and then you just don't even watch the rest of the show, and it breaks my heart every time. I know, I know things. But, yeah, I think the dialectical may be a bit of a challenge for me. So, I think I should probably get through the news poem just fine. The dialectical, though, is going to be a bit of a challenge. But I feel like, all things being equal, I think I can ride this pony. I'm going to get up on this buck and bronco, and I think I got my methodology in place. I've got a way to roll with the bucks and the broncs and the hefts and the pulls. So I think we're going to make it through, ladies and gentlemen. I think we're going to see that thing change to number 4 before the show ends. Well, right at the end. God willing. Let's record the first segment here. Let's actually record the news poem now. All right, we're going to begin in 3, 2, 1. This is the news poem for Frico Talks the News on Tuesday, May 12th, 2020. I am Frico with Frico.com. I take you to our beautiful, beautiful news poem today, and that is the lovely Thomas Hobbes. There he is, the beautiful, beautiful human being. He says, listen, everybody is, we're fundamentally evil, and we need a master. Listen, the Bible says so. The Bible says so. There, Thomas Hobbes. That's all you need to know. Helen Thomas and Thomas Hobbes had a baby and called it Eat Your Nothing Child, which is a reference to Sprockets, a comedy skit from Saturday Night Live with Michael Myers. Dieter. No, my name is Dieter. Now is the time on Sprockets when we dance. And there was, I couldn't find it, and I may not have the exact quote right, but it doesn't matter. It's still close enough. Dieter captured the whole Dada avant-garde kind of vibe that the German techno crowd was throwing off at that time. And it was beautiful. But I think the Nothing Child is either it might be the name of a song on one of their top 5 charts. Like you gotta just check it out. Check it out. It is worth it. Check out Dieter. Sprockets. Now is the time on sprockets when we dance. I say that with regularity, at least 3 or 4 times a month. That phrase comes out of my head, out loud, with others around, and they never ever get the reference. The learned Helen Thomas dusts off the. I'm going to do the whole sprockets routine here. I'm doing this. You know what? Hold on. Here we go. Let's do this. Yeah. There we go. There we get that vibe. Yeah, we got that vibe going on, ladies and gentlemen. That's why they pay me the good money on this. This is Petroleum Seeps. Now, I don't know if you're new to the show, but when I write something, if I feel like it makes it through the whole segment, then I leave it up, and if it'll be there for when I get to the next time, and I decide. In this case, Petroleum Seeps. Do I want to keep that up with this story? No, I do not. You're done. Petroleum Seeps did not survive. Sorry, it's over. Alrighty. The learned Helen Thomas dusts off the corpse of Christ said fascism was cool Thomas Hobbes to bedazzle her nearly learned, but wanting to seem learned bustle of cosmopolitan sophisticats. She informs the rabble, the hoi polloi, that the big think people think. The big people think, I should say. The big people think. Big people think. You know, I'm going to change this. I'm going to do something here. We're going to make ourselves a text. We have the visual manifestation of the confabulation and the constriction. Yeah, I think we'll just leave it to this. Big people think. We'll put this in the. You know, we want this to be safe as the big people thinks. And then we get the backgrounds here is the whites of the eyes. And we do a little bit of, yes. You know, one thing I must work out is, eventually, so, you know, when do we do this? Why don't we do this? Can we do this sense of, no options here. Okay. Let's see what we do. We've done all we can do at this point. Well, you know what? We'll make this a little bit more. I shouldn't spend this much time, but it's important. Important for you to get a sense of the safety of this. The safety. It had to be portrayed safety-wise. There we go. See, look at that. Isn't that? That is safe, right? Look at that. Look at the nice, strong, confident, secure blue and the calming, stabilizing white. You know, the blues, the whites, you know. Big people think, you know, then it's not big scary, it's not arrogant. No, it's big people think. You know, it's a corporate slogan. It means love and fun. Love and fun, ladies and gentlemen. Big people think. And if you're not big people, you don't think. See, big people think. You know, big people think. She informs the rabble, the hoi polloi, that big people think is beyond you, so you should just accept the hard choices. And big people, who never really suffer quite like we will folk do, have to make to save you from the things we say are going to kill you. Ooh. You know, I think that sometimes Frico is a little bit loudmouth. I think we need to straighten that up a little bit. We need to get... There we go. Let's just get you centered here. And then we need to... Because sometimes this guy doesn't know his place. He says things, doesn't think about it. There we go. There we go. That's perfect. I think that's better. I think that makes it look safer. It makes it look safer. It does. I feel safer now. Now that big people think is over that ugly mouth. Freakos. Blabber boy there. As usual, news first, poem follows. Excerpt from newstatesman.com. The problem of deciding between avoidable deaths and destroying economy is Hobbesian, from the New Statement. As noted, written by Helen Thomas. Note anything about Helen, other than Helen Thomas, who is now dead, who used to be a Washington, D.C. Oval Office in the press room correspondent. I don't think this is her, though, because that Helen Thomas is dead, so if it's her, this is remarkable. I need to talk to her about a few things, some questions. In the present crisis, disagreement about the weight to give economic risks in relation to otherwise avoidable deaths from coronavilles. I won't even give you that, Helen. Sorry, it's coronavilles. Is becoming a Hobbesian political problem. In the U.S., it is already palpably straining individual states' authority to decide. Democratic politics cannot function if armed protesters turn up when representatives take decisions. Oh, listen to the idiocy of that statement. These folks were showing up just to let you know, listen, there is the Bill of Rights. We have a citizen. Literally, this is what America literally, well, it's not literally what it is, but it's ostensibly what it is. But more on that later. There you go. No, democratic policies cannot function if armed protesters turn up when representatives take decisions, as they did in the Michigan State Legislature on April 30th. Never mind if it seems a bit draconian and you may not be completely convinced that the level of action is necessitated rather by the severity of the threat. There's no real credible sources, government or otherwise. So, yeah, there's a lot of messies going on there. Listen, Thomas. Can I call you Thomas? Yeah, Thomas Hobbes, and then Helen Thomas. Just say Thomas, because you're interchangeable, right? You're interchangeable. Oh, you have some prohibitions about Thomas. I think I won't get into that, but on the main, you're still two peas in a pod. I should have just taken a picture of you, but I didn't want to do that. By the way, just remember this about this woman. She's a human being, an individual. You should not subhumanize her. You should not hate her. You should not demean her. I just disagree with her opinion. I don't disagree with her humanness. Just remember that. So, Helen, you need to remember that, man. Although still, this is what you look like, Helen. This is you. Literally. Look in the mirror. Ha! Listen. Human beings are fundamentally evil. Christ is Lord. He says it. And look, he says, yes, this is good. Listen, Thomas, a government that is based on the legitimacy of the government itself and the fruit of the effects of its laws is pretty awesome. Yeah! All right. Anyway. All right, let's get down into this. In the present crisis, disagreement about the weight to give economic risk in relation to otherwise avoidable death. Okay, whatever. I did all that. I'm not going to repeat that. When lockdowns eventually end or loosen, the disagreement about relative risk will also impede the economic Wait. The disagreement about relative risk. The disagreement about relative risk will also impede the economic recovery if those who above all fear for their health stay at home. Well, guess what? In that instance, we will give them, you guys, we have money, we can just print, it doesn't matter. we'll give them the protections they need to not, and I've said this in multiple instances on this show. It works both ways, and well, I'll get to that later. But in essence, hey, I'm all for them. They don't need to feel compelled to rescue the economy any more than these folks are saying they don't need to feel compelled to continue to not put their lives at risk if they deem so, especially given your stuff just nothing. None of this stuff has ever added up or made sense. And honestly, after all this time, most of us haven't. I mean, we all know probably at least someone who's had it, and we all know maybe even someone who's had maybe a worse case than others. I don't think we all know someone who has died. I don't think that we have fundamentally experienced anything that would relate to the stories that we were told we were going to experience. So at this point, people are rightfully in doubt. And they're rightfully in doubt as to whether it's even safe, and they're still thinking, no, this really is death and a threat. And so everybody's rightfully in doubt at this point. So nobody should be coerced to go to work or not go to work. That's the point. The restrictions need to be lifted both ways. Don't force, like if I had a business and I had employees, I would just unemploy them. If they wanted to be, if they wanted to come to work, I'd say, great, come to work. And if they didn't want to come to work, I would say, okay, I will just unemploy you. But I'll bring you back as soon as this is over. I would not want to put my employees in a position, if I had them, and I've had employees before, and I can guarantee you I would not have done this to them. I would have unemployed them. I would not have put my employees in a position where they have to decide whether they want to take the risk or not. For me, I take the risk. My wife goes to work, and I have no objection to it. And she has no objection to it. She's not going against her will. She's doing so consensually, I guess you could say. And she has options that she could take if she wanted to. But there's reasons why. She only goes to work physically twice a week, but she has to. It's vital, the work that she does. So, and she does so consensually. But I wouldn't want her to be in a position where she had to, if she doesn't go to work, she loses her job. No, the work should just give her a way to not have to make that choice. Whether it's figuring out ways to get people to work from home, or if that's not possible, just unemploy them. So it works always. This person only wants to protect the workers, and there's reason for that I talked about in other shows, and I'll get to later. But this is just the shields that these folks use, these citadelians and their vassals, and I don't know where she falls into. She's just probably one of the wannabe vassals, but who knows? She could come from one of the citadelian families with it. I have no idea. I don't know anything about this woman. Energy denial, like its climate change counterpart, is part of the democratic political landscape. What does that even mean? There's so much to unpack there. I'm not going to. As politicians decide how to calibrate the conflicting economic and environmental risks over competing time horizons, the Hobbesian political problem of deep existential value disagreement returns in a quick, stark form. There is no objective value. I don't know. I may be missing that. Deciding on the risks politicians must take will require painful truth-telling. This is such BS. They can't do this. You understand that their particular vehicles of power are rested upon certainitarian claims. Certainitarian claimants can never tell the truth. Do you know how I know? Because no human being, no system, no assembly of AI has the capacity to own certainty. So anyone that claims it I know immediately, if that's what their vehicle of power, their standing is based on, I know to immediately mistrust that part of their life. I'm not going to mistrust them entirely, but that part of their life, wherever that identity is the core driver in the conversation, I no longer trust that person. And this is the politician. Everything they do is based on certainty, the moral claim, the moral high ground. I have the economic plan that will solve all of our problems. Me and me alone. Me. It's so this is just insane. This person is simply writing content marketing for thugocracy being perpetuated into the 21st century after its thugocracy is no longer fruitful. Whether it was or not, I'll let you decide, but at the very least, within what you describe or assume to be fruitfulness, the miracle growth of the last 200 years, thanks to capitalism, all the improved lives and standards of livings, and maybe it could have been so much more than it ever will be or could be under this capitalist system of yours. Not that I got nothing good to say about the socialist systems or the communist systems either. I feel the same way about you that I do the capitalist systems. I reject all of you, all of your massive assumptions about the certainty of quote-unquote economics. You could write economic laws and force feed people into a system that is governed by these alleged certain economic laws. All you have to do is understand economy to understand life. Economy is not life. Economy is life only fundamentally within a system of coercion. And we have a million gazillion systems of coercion here and now, and we have for thousands of years. But I digress. Let's just do the poem. We went 17 minutes and we haven't even gotten to the poem. And that's, the news poem, that's the way it works. I'm going to try to generally keep that down to 8 to 9 minutes. But today, oh boy, I apologize. Helen Thomas and Thomas Hobbes had a baby and called it Eat or Nothing Child. Helen Thomas ate my lunch. I didn't mean to leave it for her. She just ate it. Helen Thomas, why did you eat my lunch? I thought about Hobbes and Helen. At time they were caught behind the stands. No kidding, the stands. Hobbes and Helen in a tree, leaning on false idols and wrecked assumptions. Then down came the carriage, the baby, the whole carnival crowd, and everyone who came to see them, the actual crowd. Helen Thomas eats fish out of golden bowls. I know it. I picture the assumption, tall flower and clipped patterned flow, bedraggled by the dangerous knowing of the stupid of man, of the evil of man, of the poor undone, of the frail things out there on their own, unaware of how hard we large scalers work to maintain the load they burden. We labor so hard to maintain the load that burdens you. For you. Our gold bowls fill with fish as we talk Klimt and Hobbes, and remark on the scandal of the uninformed, the clones, the trolls, the bots, the poor dumbs. But dangerous dumbs beneath our balconies, mercifully unaware of how sweats the brow of the maintainer of the load that burdens you, for you, by you, somehow of you. Somehow. But you need not know, need not. Accept the corvée, accept the load. The master has indulged in your comfort for far too long. There's planets to save and viruses to avoid. This means firstborns and thoughts are the first things to go. So, eat your nothing, child, and be glad we didn't give you less. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you very much. I don't know. That felt like an Elvis moment. I don't know. I could see Elvis kind of coming in and listening to all that and just walking up to me and just saying, not knowing what to say, probably a little bit stunned, a little bit flummoxed and discombobulated from the canticulations of the internalizations of the Frico mind. And he would just walk up to me and he would just say, I'll thank you very much. And he and I would be in sync, and we would both have a banana and peanut butter jelly sandwich, or banana and peanut sandwich. Banana and peanut sandwich. And we just banana. I believe a fried banana, maybe fried banana. If not, I will do that. Fried banana and peanut butter, peanut butter. You know what? That jelly wants on, but jelly ain't getting on because Elvis ain't. I have a feeling Elvis ain't no, because he could have optioned jelly long ago, and he never did. No stories of jelly with the Elvis and the peanut butter and the banana sandwiches. So let's just stick with that. But let's up it though. Let's do the fried banana, because that might be something that he hadn't considered, but I think it was. And I'm not going to check it because I don't want to spoil it, because I want to leave it out as the possibility. The possibility that's what we got going on here. This is almost the end of the show if you're watching live on the YouTube channel Action Batsa. We're also on DLive.tv Frico, and we do post the excerpts on bitshoot.com/Frico afterwards. Coming up next is the Dialectical. It's the last segment of the show, but if you're watching the live show, I've got some special little idea that I'm going to throw out here in between here and now. But if you're watching in the segment versions, you're going to have to find the replay of the show to catch that. The Dialectical is Americans Do the Safety Dance from the Bill of Rights. All right, let's get ready. Let's get ready to rumble. Sorry. All right, let me get me flabated for the last introduction. This is the last segment of the show. This is the Dialectical. All right, here we go. Let me get ready to record in 3, 2. Oh, hold on. I almost missed it. Oh. Where is it? Hold on. Where? This is worth it. I do not. Oh, here we go. I missed it. I misplaced it. Meant to do it in between, and I didn't. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to actually record this segment, I think. I think I am going to record this as a standalone segment. In 3, 2, 1. You know what? Let me see if I can do this. Hold on. I'm going to try to figure out which scene do I want to try to record this in. Let's do this one. No, not that one. No, not that one, ladies and gentlemen. This one. I'll do this. Here we go. This one. I'm doing this one. Ready? All right. 3, 2, 1. All right. This is a quick little mesh search idea. This is so I'm calling it the mesh search idea. Blockchain-based mesh search network connected to all existing major social media that allows the users to create their own custom filtered searches, and even create associational networks that have their own governance standards. The blockchain needs to be able to constantly add new data from the major social media platforms that are open for public display. This tool would radically change the whole game, especially if it were not one tool, but open source code solutions to instant creations of search engines and networks by individuals who freely associate with one another. The easily reproducible tool could also be used, I'm not saying that it exists and it's easily, I'm saying that's what it needs to be,
Could also be used to index any platforms that individuals themselves might wish to be able to create alternative search engines, feed filters, and networks governance standards. Above all else, this is not a solution if it is a tool that is not open source. People could develop their own versions of this tool they could sell, versions that can come prepackaged with certain networks, even search and feed filters at default, even perhaps access to exclusive content. But the code must be free and open to all who wish to use it. And if you like this idea and you plan on using this idea, let me know and I'll try to track your development. And if you like this idea because you're already doing it, let me know. I'll track your development. If you like this idea because you're already using it, oh gosh, please give it to me now. I want it. Give it to me, baby. And I'll promote the poopalinga out of it. So either one of those categories, if you can do it, or if you did it, or if you know who did it, either one of those kind of, comment down below if that's true. Let me know. And if you know anything about these things, let me know if this is even remotely possible as well. All right, thank you for your indulgence. And now we're going to get back to the show here. We're going to get back to the Dialectical. Let's get that ready. Yeah, I like this particular setup for the Dialectical. All right, I think I'll do a little email promotion there. In 3, 2, 1. And this is the Dialectical for Frico Talks the News on Tuesday, May 12th, 2020. I am Frico with Frico.com. The Dialectical today is Americans Do the Safety Dance from the Bill of Rights. And if you'd like to get show notes and you don't want to miss show notes and all the other stuff that we do here, we is basically me and all the characters in my head. You go to Frico.com and you can find this little place to enter your email and subscribe. Get Frico's Daily Freaks. Just enter your email and click subscribe. You can also go to Frico.com/daily. And there's an option for you to join our email list as well. And you make sure you don't miss a thing. Like, for instance, today's episode of our Dialectical. Americans do the safety dance from the Bill of Rights. They tell us we're a democracy. Over and over again. The Washington Post boldly proclaims, democracy dies in darkness, which they tell us lies. Well, while they tell us lies that undermine that very democracy they say they are defending by keeping the light shining. Democracy. As I believe Ben Franklin is attributed to saying, democracy is two wolves and one lamb voting on who to eat, or words to that effect. The statement is meant to highlight viscerally, metaphorically, the inherent flaw with democracy. It tends to produce mob tyrannies in which, at the end, factions literally end up on gathering for the final election. That's what they end up on. Well, get the final election. It'll solve everything. The final boss. The final end of the struggle. History is fulfilled day when their side finally crushes all dissent and resistance and is able to assure its way, its will, its morality, or words to that effect. It leads the day by hook or by crook with the full aid and service of the federal government and its vassal governments. In Athens, for instance, mob-ruled democracies literally led to dictatorships as well as votes to determine if you should be kicked off the island, so to speak. Excommunicated from the city-state club. Democracy. The American government is ostensibly laid out to be a representative democratic republic that is It is a combination of features that make it impractical and in violation of the government's claim to legitimate power of the Constitution. Should democratic values actually define the government itself? The American government is the product of a distribution of real power across all markets of power influence, force, demonstrable, social, and ideational. On the main, individuals, smaller governments, states were largely capable of self-sustaining, at least at subsistence levels. And the countryside was filled with rifles that came home from wars, including Indian wars, and the big one of its time, the Revolutionary War. The Constitution, the legitimization of power of the federal government, however, was not enough to placate the zealous states and even the rank-and-file Americans' fear of a government that would overstep their choices, their local power. It was a Bill of Rights that ultimately became the basis for the legitimization of authority in America, and to this day, one of the most often declared statements of defiance against authority in America is, "I know my rights, that's a violation of my Bill of Rights," or words to that effect. Variations, many variations, but essentially that. This is the Republican form of government in action, setting heuristic institutions in Americans that give us a sense of rights entitlement, an assumption that the state derives its authority by the demonstrated self-restraint despite having a disproportionate force advantage over anyone outside of it. And what follows is a report on polls that shows Americans overwhelmingly support some degree of threat of violence to prevent other Americans from attending church services. And I'm sure for them, they have supposed Coronavilles, I'm sure for them, they have supposed that Coronavilles is a significant, maybe apocalyptic kind of plague threat on humanity, and I don't begrudge them their fears, and I'm not even sure that their fears are unfounded. They might be founded. It's hard to tell. But these Americans, whether they choose to face it or not, are supporting authoritarian restraints on human life with little to no real data to support. At this point, I can't emphasize that. This level of intentional paralysis of life-giving commerce and trade. A poll tells us that nearly half of Americans are for using violence to prevent others from going to gatherings, specifically religious gatherings. In the name of saving lives, they tell us, with no real access to truthful, such as we can understand there, data to suggest this Coronavilles is as deadly or not as deadly as this level of fascistic action we Americans overwhelmingly seem to support, suggests it might be. Now keep that Bill of Rights in the back of your head, because we're not done. I got more on the other side of this excerpt. Poll. This is from Dayton247now.com. Most in U.S. back curbing in-person worship amid virus. While the White House looks ahead to reopening houses of worship, most Americans think in-person religious services should be barred or allowed only with limits during the Coronavirus pandemic. By the way, you know what this is right here? This is... When I talk about the market influences or markets of influence, I'm sorry. When I talk about the markets of influence, two of those markets of influence are heavily at play here. Really, though, fundamentally, all four markets of influence are at play, and for the main, a lot of times that's the case. But there are some markets which are more salient at other times, and sometimes it's more of a mix of things going on. But in this instance, there's really two really big ones. The first and foremost lead one is this is demonstrable. This is the appeal to popularity, so to speak. This is a chastising. Listen, the White House just doesn't have its pulse on what's right. What's right is, look, most Americans think this, therefore. It's listen, the truth of what we're saying is that everybody agrees with us. There's demonstrable, it's specious reasoning, of course. Just because more people believe you doesn't prove that you're right, but that doesn't mind. It's still, for most human beings, fundamentally, it's demonstrable influence. But it's also social, because there's an implication also that you're going outside the bounds of accepted thought. So there's some social shaming that you're attempting not just to put on the White House, but you're also putting on anybody who supports the White House, or for that matter supports opening things up, allowing for people. Well, I don't like the term opening things up. I prefer the term allowing people to choose to open up, if you will. Oh, these are the jokes, folks. Sorry. Never mind. There's so many things that I wanted to say there that I just let shut it down before I said it. And only, see that? And only, not just the third, and only a third say that prohibiting in-person services violates religious freedom. See that? Only a third. It's only a third, so I don't know what you're talking about. The findings of the new poll by the University of Chicago Divinity School and the Associated Press Newark Center for Public Affairs Research suggest that many religious Americans are fine with waiting longer to return to their churches, synagogues, and mosques. See that? Even your people are like, yo, man, that's cool, man. That's cool. This whole, making it coercive, like, threatening, putting people in a position where they might literally have to shoot someone for going to church. That's cool. We support that. Religious Americans support putting people in a position where they may have to shoot someone who decides to go to church. That's what you've done. Love it. Super. Just 9% is doing the safety dance. It's a safety dance. That's the title here. That's the title of the whole show, too. It's the safety dance worked in, man. America do the safety dance from the Bill of Rights. Doing the safety dance. It's a safety dance. Great song, by the way, but not their best song. They are one-hit wonders, strictly speaking, but their best song is not that. Never mind. Men Without Hats does the song. And 48, okay, just 9% of Americans think in-person religious services should be permitted without restrictions. 9%. I'm one. I'm 9%. I'm in that group. I voted. I didn't vote. I don't vote. I wouldn't have participated in a poll if they called me. While 42% think they should be allowed with restrictions, mandatory restrictions. So you're going to have a cop there and they're going to invade your space and kill you if you don't comply. Never write laws that, basically never write a law against an action that you wouldn't kill someone for violating. That should be the general rule. If we did that, 99% of the laws would miraculously disappear. Never write a law that you would kill someone over, Never write a law prohibiting an action that you wouldn't kill someone over. Never, because law always puts that possibility on the table every single time. And that's what you do with these laws, with these regulations, that you're protecting the people. No, you're putting more people at harm. See, if this really is a threat and we see it, guess what's going to happen? You know how many people are going to go out? Hardly anyone. Just like if you open things up. Now, this is the coercive nature is when you force people to have to go out with the jobs. So with the way our situation is within this reality power in this nation state, with our understanding of what nation states is supposed to do to us in times of crisis and need, it is the nation state's absolute duty to assure that human beings who don't want to go to work don't have to. That means you got to take care of them, give them the monies, whatever you got to do. You got to do it. It's your responsibility. Otherwise, why do we have you? This is this is the insurance. Come due. It's come due. Do your job. But outside of that, everybody else can go back to work. Everybody can go anywhere they want. Just nobody has to. Now, back to that whole American form of government thing, the authority that so many Americans are appealing to in an effort to justify their support of fascism right here and now against their neighbors. It derives its authority not from a poll, not even a democratic vote, but the Bill of Rights. You don't get to vote people off the freaking island. Oh, this one. Wah! I'm going to make it to 4. I really want number 4. 4 shows in a row without freaking out. And I was close there because this thing is so... It's especially frustrating when I see my fellow brothers and sisters and days in the pores that are doing this. Left and right alike. Whatever, multiple factions that have chosen this. Dudes, dudettes, all of you, everyone, come on. The Bill of Rights is absolutely the last thing that we have, the last of all of the 4 spheres of influence. The ideational sphere of influence in America is the one sphere where we poors have a fighting chance, and it's because of the Bill of Rights. Now, I'm happy if we can move past the Bill of Rights and stand on our own preferences of consensuality, but we're not there. Right now, we are at this construct. Bill of Rights, it's a useful for here and now. And you want to throw it away. You don't understand what it is that you're surrendering. And especially my friends on the left, you need guns in everybody's hands. Stop being a useful idiot with guns. I'm telling you, you need more people with guns, especially people on the left. If you're gay in America, you need a gun. If you're black in the wrong place in America, you need a gun. If you're black in Chicago, you need a gun. The gangbangers don't need guns, but you do. And hardly any of you are gangbangers. And you know it. You need a gun. If the federal government and its vassal governments derive their authorities from the Bill of Rights, and you are openly advocating for the Bill of Rights, be wholly and completely jettisoned to protect us from the plague of death and doom. On whose authority, then, do you speak? Because at this point, there's no American representative democratic republic. There's only rule of force. Imagine if that secret gets out. Because that'll get out pretty quick. People figure that out. Hey, wait, everything's changed. It's rule of force now. They'll understand that. Is that your new authority then? If so, I should let you in on a little secret. The tech is against you. The small will defeat the large. The defenders will make the cost of coercion prohibitively high for the offenders. In the new technological balance of power, your ideas, your fears, your hopes, you won't be able to try them out under gun on the minds of millions of your neighbors. You'll have to earn that place in another's mind without guns, using only the merit of your ideas alone. And there will be no civil war. Only civil disobedience and difference. That the people you relied on to reward you for your cowardice, they won't be able to enforce. The cops. You're going to find it harder and harder to enforce your laws and your regulations and cops. When are you going to stand up? Where are your police unions to stand up to protect you? To say enough is enough. Stop piling on all these duties. Stop trying to make our cops a one-size-fit-all jury, judge, and executioner, and governor, and psychologist, and peace negotiator, and all these things that we keep lumping on to our cops, and we keep giving them more and more reason to ask us to do crap we more and more don't want to do. At what point do you cops go to your unions and say, enough? Negotiate better terms. Say, listen, we can't enforce these laws, these certain types of laws. And I challenge you, cops. I challenge you. Just stop it. Stop enforcing the laws that you wouldn't kill somebody for violating. Just say, no, I'm not doing that. I am not going to risk killing that person. And I'm not going to risk being killed over this. Do that. You are one of us. That's the thing, you guys. Ultimately, cops are us. We are cops. They're our group, our people. Well, they are the poors. They ain't living the good life. They're poor like us. We are the poors. They are the poors too. They are the meat machines that are being machined. They're like zombies. And they don't even know it. And if they did, they wouldn't do this. And the ones that do, they've already been checking out. One dude just did a little rant. I think deep down he knew he was going to be fired. I'd like to see more of that. I don't necessarily, well, I won't get into the particulars of his rant, but man, I support that guy. At least he stood up and said, "No, we're not going to violate the Bill of Rights." And he was saying, "Listen, I want to assure everyone, we're not going to violate the Bill of Rights." He understood at the very least where the real the legitimization of American power is the Bill of Rights. I don't think that you understand. I'm not just. This isn't ideational, wishy stuff I'm preaching here. I am telling you the reality of power, right and left alike. When you need it, you appeal to it because you know whether it's true or not. It is by your very belief that it is. That's what makes it true. You know that you know. That you can hold, you have some degree of expectation that if the government violates your bills of rights, that you have recompense. They can't do it. They may be able to get away with it initially, but in the long run, they can't get away with it. And it's the belief that the government doesn't get away with it in the end that gives it its power. It's not an election that gives you power. It's not the consent. The fruit of the consent is that you limit your power. It would be wonderful if we didn't even have to ask you. You just knew it. It was part of you. You wouldn't even go outside because it was so alien to you, violating bills of rights. That's unseemly. It'd be social faux pas for you to even consider. You'd be horrified if anybody thought you did it. That's what you should see. That's what we want to see. If we're going to have these nation-state things at all, that's as good a arrangement as I can imagine within the nation-state parameter. Give us, and I by the way, if you give us to this in the here and now, in the technology it is, your country won't exist for long, maybe another 30 years, but then it'll be a confederal union. It'll be American people. We will be a nation in an ethnic sense, except our ethnicity is going to be the whole world. We really will be the melting pot. We already are the whole world. That's what I love about America. I love that. That gives us the opportunity to do things that no other nation state, with certainly at our scale, with 300 plus million people, anything approaching that, no other nation state on the world can hope to achieve. We can truly break the tribal ethnism of the world by demonstrating a tribe, a nation, a tribe that is Nigerian and Scottish alike. That is going to destroy, very, very much destroy a certain level, a certain type of other militantism, the racisms, factional, ethnicisms, whatever. This is what we have. This is the opportunity we have. And right now, with where everybody is at within their frameworks and what they share in common, I can tell you, I can assure you, as much as I can assure anything, it's the Bill of Rights. Rally around the Bill of Rights. Hold on to that, whether you're left, right, or otherwise. If you want any hope of having anything that you want to see happen in the world in America, hold on to those Bills of Rights. Left, come with me. Come with me into the Second Amendment. Embrace it. Embrace it. It is yours. What happened in Tulsa was not that the black community had guns to fight back with. They did. The problem was they didn't have enough. That's what they needed more. They needed what this is 1920, when a white community pretty much slaughtered a black community because it was too economically successful. Pretty much is the story that happened there. And the black community fought back bravely And they would have held their own until they brought out the planes with the bombs, the biplanes, which our government had access to. And so members of our local governments decided to use those local government resources to bomb the black community. That's why, for me, the Second Amendment is about nuclear weapons every bit as much as it is about AR-15s. Not that we won't have nuclear weapons in every home. That's insane. But maybe we could someday. Probably not. But that's why I support the black community having nuclear weapons. I am pro-black community having nuclear weapons. I'll say it here, and I will say it proud. Nuclear weapons for the black community. For every community. That's what I say. Nuclear weapons for everyone. I'm being hyperbolic. I don't really want nuclear weapons for everyone, but I'm just saying, whatever humans can produce and maintain safely, then humans should be able to have access to. The Second Amendment, whatever you think it was, it doesn't matter. We are using it as our vehicle of power to claim. No, the line is, we citizens, we are the government. Therefore, we have the full authority to have everything the government has. We're one and the same. And if we're not, well, then we're going to have a different conversation. And that is, maybe we got to figure out exactly what we are, but there might not be a we at the end of that conversation. That's kind of where we're at. And I do believe that if we come to that end, that it's going to be a peaceful end. At least that's my hope and that's my belief. That's my belief. And with that, I will end this Dialectical. I thank you very much for joining us here today on the, you're watching the excerpts. We will do another round of excerpts starting at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I think I gave the times wrong in the other things. Oh, no, I didn't give the times. That's right. I'm not doing it anymore. So we'll see you guys tomorrow for the next excerpt. We'll just end it. We're just going to end it. There you go. We're going to go here, and we're going to end it. We're not doing the briefs anymore. Those are over. So this is where we end the show. Good night, everybody. Well, not the show, just this segment. I wouldn't leave you guys like that. I wouldn't just leave you like that. I wouldn't do that to you. I am not doing that to you. So this is the end of the show, though. So I thank you very much. Even though, I like that I'm doing this. I have more space to talk about some of the other stories, and still I'm running about the same length anyway, which is about what I was hoping for. Although if I do run shorter, that's fine too. So hopefully you like the new format. I think that talking about less stories is good. Also, it means that I can focus on what for me are more interesting stories that fall within the Frico mission statement, which I don't have a mission statement, but I have a mission statement. It's just a big ramble of stuff. And I guess the essentials of the mission statement is to preach the gospel of, I'm going to say stewardship. The gospel of stewardship through news in a way that's artful to the degree to which I have that capacity. Even if I suck. As long as I am as artful as I could possibly be, that's all I have to be, my stoics approach to what I do. So, with that in mind, I bid you all adieu. I'll see you guys all tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So this regular format of the show will be the Tuesday through Thursday, and the Monday is going to be the more relaxed version of the show where I'll talk about less stories. Probably it'll be a shorter show, and I really like the new way I'm doing things. It's a lot less stressful for me as well too. So I think it's a win-win for everybody. So good night, everybody.
Thank you for engaging with this material presented. As usual, remember your views, your suppositions do not make you subhuman, nor do they permit you to subhumanize others. No humans were harmed in the making of the show, and we extend no wish of harm in anyone who hasn't directly harmed or threatened to harm others first, no matter how reprehensible we find your views.
We will see you in the next Frico Talks, where Frico attempts to talk about news without freaking out.
It's not